Hey folks, man, this is Cory, and welcome to another Classics of Cinematics. I'm joined as always by my co-host Bob, aka Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo.
Yeah, and we got an interesting classic today, man. So today we're going to be talking about what year did this come out, dude? 1988's Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and this was directed by Robert Zemeckis, and I guess our main star here is going to be Bob Haskins, but it also has Charles Fletcher, who's doing a lot of voice work in this as Roger Rabbit. We've also got Christopher Lloyd, who plays Judge Doom, our main villain. Kathleen Turner, Jessica Rabbit, which is Roger Rabbit's wife. And we got a bunch of other characters in this, but mostly voice actors, man. You know what I'm saying? And this is a really great, interesting film on a lot of ways. For one, it's a live action film mixed with animation, a la Mary Poppins, aka like Cool World, things of that nature. And it's an interesting film too because it stars Disney and Warner Brothers and maybe some other characters in it at the same time.
I think there's a couple Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters, but what was also most impressive to me was their own character build-up.
Yeah,
they created their own characters in this film, and those were really the standout cartoons in this film. Not just Jessica Rabbit or Roger Rabbit. Like when you take it to like the Cab or even like we were talking earlier, like the gun with the bullets, and
because I think for the most part the Disney and the Warner Brothers and the other characters, they really were more window dressing. They really weren't central to the plot. They didn't really mix them up into the story that much. Like that one instance where our main guy Bob Haskins looks out the window and there's Dumbo. But let me give folks the synopsis real quick on this thing, just so they know what the film is about. But so down on his luck, Private Eye Eddie Valiant, played by Bob Haskins, gets hired by cartoon producer R.K. Maroon to investigate an adultery scandal involving Jessica Rabbit, the sultry wife of Maroon's biggest star, Roger Rabbit. But when Marvin Acme, Jessica's alleged paramour and the owner of Toontown, is found murdered, the villainous Judge Doom vows to catch and destroy Roger. So it's an interesting story. In this film, there's cartoons are living, well, they're among people. They're out there. They're real. Yeah. They're animated. They use them for a lot of film work, but they also, they live and they have their own world, this Toontown world, which I think, our guy, what's his name? Maroon,
R.K. Maroon,
yeah.
That's the studio owner of that, that they're making their movies, their livelihood from, but in the real world, because there is, as we move later into the show, there is a thing called Toontown where like all the your toons will reside, but the ones that are living among us as humans. Get their paychecks.
Yeah, and R.K. Maroon somehow owns Toontown, which is an interesting development. So when we catch this film, we meet our main guy Bob Haskins, and he seems to be private eye gumshoe thing. What's interesting in this film, it is dealing with that film noir kind of genre, like it's definitely styled in those old films of the 40s and 50s.
I was about to say it looks like it takes place in like the 50s or something. Right?
Yeah, he's like a gumshoe style detective, and it kind of unwinds like that in a way, and some maybe more of a more satirical version of it. You know what I'm saying? Where it's playing up for the jokes, but a lot of that. That old gritty detective stuff is in there. So
almost like that Dick Tracy feel. Like I mean, when you look at the cars and stuff, and it's definitely it's their set pieces to give us.
Yeah, it's a period film.
Yes,
definitely. Indeed. So pretty much, I love the way this film starts, man. It's a crazy film. So it starts with a short. What's the name of what is the official name of that? Did they call that?
The short. I just know it's Roger Rabbit and the baby, and it kind of like it plays like what you would get from like Tom and Jerry or Sylvester and Tweety, whereas the woman who is I guess the mom of the baby, you only see her from the knee down, and just like that's a testament to what we would get out of like Tom and Jerry and whatnot. And Roger is supposed to watch the baby while she runs to the store or something. And of course, soon when mom leaves, Baby starts wreaking havoc. He wants to get little cookies. There's a cookie jar on top of the fridge, and he's going through hell and back to try and get these cookies. And Roger's freaking out and getting hit up with all the shenanigans that are going on around that. But the thing is, it's like right after we get that cool short, when they call cut, it brings us right back into like real life, and then that's when we get full exposure of the integration between toon and real life,
because it starts off like you feel like you're about to watch a film short, like a lot of the Pixars do now. They'll put a movie on the beginning, but it's starring Roger Rabbit and Baby Huey. Roger Rabbit's babysitting his baby, but then and the baby's trying to die, kill himself, just doing dumb stuff, wandering around, and Roger Rabbit is just showing up at the last minute to stop him. But then boom, something happens and it breaks the fourth wall, and you realize that they're actually filming this right now. And then that's where the plot kicks in. So apparently Roger Rabbit has been struggling on the production of this film. He keeps missing his marks.
They say it's funny because they quote it as, "You're missing your lines," because when they drop the refrigerator on his head, he has birds circling around his head, but his lines call for stars. So it's like they're holding these toons accountable for this craziness that we see in cartoons. And not to show our age or nothing, but y'all know, we a little, older, and this is what we would get from like your Merry Melodies or your Looney Tunes cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons. There were 5 to 6 minute shorts where you just see all this craziness, and then on to the next cartoon where
But the way they're explaining it too is like these, like, even the producer, it was like when Bob Haskins walks on the set, because he's been summoned to the set, he just happens to walk in while they're filming. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but basically Bob Haskins makes a point later on when he's like, our guy, he's missing his marks, and it's like, maybe the fact that you dropped the refrigerator on his head. And he's like, well, he's a toon. They just shake that off. So somehow these toons are also indestructible. They can't really be killed or damaged or hurt. That's why they're employed by this. It's basically, you got a stuntman that's indestructible. They could do the gags. They could do whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they can't be hurt, so we think. But we will get into that a little later too.
So, but what's interesting is So Bob Haskins walks on the set, and the craziest part is, he's kind of racist in a way. He's Toonist.
He's Toonist. Yes, he's definitely Toonist.
He hates toons because apparently in his past, his brother was killed by a toon, so he hates him. So first of all, he doesn't even want to be here on this set or being involved in any of this.
Well, because he's still he's a private investigator, but as we learn as the film goes on, it was actually him and his brother. They were, a team of private investigators, and the majority of their work was done for toons. And so, once his brother, got killed by, a toon, he didn't want nothing to do with it. But, the love that the toons had for him still, like, his name still rung bells. Like, every time a toon crossed past one, they're like, "Oh, Eddie Valiant, you did so much for my friend," or this or that. Like, the toon still got big love for him, but he wants no parts of it because of course his brother is. But
he's kind of in a slump too now. They make illusions that he's got alcohol problems and all that.
Oh yeah, I mean every shit. The whole first half an hour of the film, 20 hour of the film, he's clutching a fifth of wild turkey.
Yeah, they emphasize that. So he goes up to the the main guy of the studio, and the guy of the studios is like, "Yo, we got a problem. Roger keeps messing up because he's concerned about his girl." And so they're trying to figure out what's going on. The head of the studio thinks there might be some side, she's maybe having an affair or whatever. So they hire Eddie to go see what's up. Basically, Eddie's job is to follow Jessica Rabbit and
get some pictures,
get some proof, and just to see what's going on, if there's anything there. You know what I'm saying? Just to see if they can get to the bottom of this and get their star, because Roger Rabbit is the main star of the studio. You know what I'm saying? He's their all money and everything. So Bob Haskins, he takes a job. He really is reluctant, but at the same time, he needs money. You know, apparently the work is slow right now, and boom, you know, my man writes him a check for he said, I need you for 100,
but
he gives him a check for 50. Man, he's like, yo, what's going on?
And it's funny because that's when when you see Dumbo come up out the window. He's like, oh, the funny thing is you know, they'll work for peanuts. Like, but it's like he's working for peanuts too. Like there's so many little like innuendos that are really awesome.
He's like, I don't work for peanuts. So basically he's like, all right, I give you 50 now, you get 50 when you come
on
back.
Completion. Yeah.
Completion.
And you know what? And not for nothing, the next scene that we get, that is probably one of my most favorite scenes in this film. When he goes to, there is it's a bar where it's ran by Toons. You know, all the employees are.
It's ran by Toons, but no Toons are allowed to.
It's a Toon entertainment, but it's only humans are allowed to frequent this place.
It's crazy because like I mean, you just look at the I guess the social dynamics, man. Like basically the Toons are a marginalized class, man. Like we like them for entertainment, but we don't like to live among them. You know, they're separate. The humans, they got their own world.
Yeah.
Even this bar is crazy because like Toons can't patronize this place. They can work there. They can
play there as
entertainers, but they can't attend it. And that's kind of an allegory. If you think of like things like the Cotton Club, you know, which had a similar setup, a historical institution in New York. You know, bar club scene, like people like Duke Ellington.
Yeah.
Could perform there, but most you couldn't attend the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of crazy.
But you know, this is the part of the film where we really see the integration between, you know, your Warner Brothers and your Disney. Because like I said, it was one of my favorite
I love that
scenes
scene, dude.
When you get Donald Duck and Daffy Duck
battling on the
it's
piano.
Almost like a freestyle battle or something, but with the piano, dude. I mean, and that whole scene is just, it's hilarious to me. Watching them go back and forth and stuff, because like, they both have speech impediments.
I want to point out, I didn't finish my rewatch last night. I was tired. I put it on late and I fell asleep. But the thing that surprises me about this film is it's animated. You've got all these characters, but this is a very adult film. And I'm not saying adult as far as vulgarity, but adult as far as the themes and stuff that it was touching on. Things that went over my head in 1988, 89 when I first saw this that I'm seeing now, and I'm like, yo, this is probably one of the best films ever. Like if I gotta put a 100 film list, I might have to put this on there, dude. This is gonna be
this film would be on my top 25 list. Like I view it differently now as an adult. Like when I first saw it as a kid, it was funny. It was I loved just seeing like. When I saw this the first time around, I was young enough that it gave me the thought, like, man, maybe Toons could live among us. That would be so cool.
You would like it, but nah, I knew they could.
Yeah, I know, you know, like, but I was that young, and I was like, man, it was that cool. But now, you know, like you said, we see all of the adult humor in this. I mean, like. As he progresses, you know, through this bar, and you know, you meet Marvin Acme, which I thought that was really cool too, because in Warner Brothers, everything that you know was bought, like when Wile E. Coyote got his dynamite or anything, it always said Acme on it. So I thought that was like really cool that they, you know, turned, you know, that name.
Did we go to the cast yet, or did we already do that?
Yeah, we already went through.
Oh yeah. Because that's another thing interesting. Like Jessica Rabbit's character, that he goes to that bar to meet her and question her, and you know, but there's a bodyguard thing going on. But he goes into it and actually he meets who was the guy that gets was that Maroon?
No, that was Marvin Acme.
Marvin Acme.
And he's getting all excited because you know Jessica Rabbit is about to perform.
And that was interesting because he says, I come here, he doesn't which is crazy. So basically Betty Boop pops up, and this is an example where one of the tunes is not just background. So Betty Boop is in there, and it's interesting because she applies that I've got to work here now because since all the cartoons went to color, you know, there's no demand for me now.
And they still have her in like black and white animation.
Yeah, she's working in the bar, but also she knows by what's his Eddie. She knows Eddie, and she gives him the 411. It's like, you know, Marvin doesn't miss when Jessica.
Whenever she performs, he's there, and you see him like he's over there like spraying his cologne on, getting all excited. He's like, he's like, Jessica Rabbit about to come out.
So she comes out, and which is crazy. It was interesting because like just the way she's drawn, man. Like that's where this thing I feel like it separates itself from kid
She's
stuff.
Just drawn that way.
It separates itself from kid stuff. Yeah, the way she's drawn and what she does is a sultry Kathleen Turner. Her voice is voicing this character as she comes out, does her thing, and this is where the animation amazes me because like you said, there's a thing going on where the live action is mixing with animation. Not only is she's drawn very sexually, but when you watch the scene and look at how she's interacting with the patrons of the show, you know, there's a bald guy. She pulls out her scarf and she like kind of, you know, shines his head.
But it looks like she's holding the scarf. I mean, yes, this is just it's a testament to how well this film was shot.
I'll point out this too, because like you've got people, especially Bob Haskins, man. Like I've heard people who work on films with a lot of CGI where they've got to act with things that aren't there. And one of the things I've heard a lot is that a lot of times actors reference this film because Bob Haskins was doing this, you know, in 87, 88, you know, when this thing went into production, and basically acting without things there, and he kills it. Like he probably should have got an Oscar for this, man. If things were just and right, because it's crazy what he was doing in this film, the physical comedy of it, the dramatic acting that he was doing and interacting with things that weren't there. Like, this is a master class in how to do that. I see movies now where you see people and they're staring off into space, it look like, but the thing that they're supposed to be interacting with is later on transfixed in the film where it's right there, but they look like they're not even in the same room.
The thing is when it comes to that, like in the first half of the film, you know, he's still, you know, it's still in I guess quote unquote our world.
Yeah, there's people around.
Yeah. So he's still, you know, there's other, you know, actors that he's interacting with. It's once he goes to Toontown, that's when he really he takes it to a whole nother level.
Honestly, like I'm looking at this scene right here now where he's just in a bar with who was the Dolores.
Yeah,
he's in a bar with Dolores, and this Roger Rabbit is just there, just them, and then he's looking at Roger eye to eye, and you're like, Roger Rabbit wasn't there when he shot this, but it looks like he's, you know, interacting with the real person.
See, once he makes it to Toontown, and he's interacting, and he's the only live actor there. That was all green screen.
Yeah,
you know, all the tune interaction, the whole the atmosphere, everything. That's when it really kind of.
And I don't want to put out, like I said, like he's tunist. He hates tunes, and you know, this film tells us immediately that his brother was killed by a cartoon character. That's why he's like that. And but so he's kind of, you know, interacting with this world. He hates these people, these characters. If they were real people, he would be hating these people. Let's just say, just maybe he's a detective that doesn't like black people. That's how it comes off when he's interacting with these tunes. But this is what he got paid to do, and handle his job. But I do want to bring back to Dolores' character, man, because there's a scene in the very beginning where he, you know, shows up at the bar, and you know, she tells him someone called him looking for a job. Well, no, my bad. This is after he gets offered a job, but he goes to her to borrow her camera so he could take the pictures, you know, as evidence. And there's an interesting interaction. You get the sense that they have romantic things going on between them.
She said, I haven't used this since our vacation in, like, I don't know, Florida. They went to some beach, but this was back, you know, because
the brother was still alive.
The brother was still alive, and you see, you know, Eddie and Dolores, like they were obviously together. You know what I mean?
But it's one of those things too, where I feel like it's like it reminds me of Pee Wee Herman and what is her name, Dottie, where she really likes him. He's digging her a little bit, but he doesn't. He's too cool for school and doesn't, you know, want to go all in. I'm like, dude, this woman, you could tell she's in love with you. You know what I'm saying? She's bending over backwards to help you out, but you're just treating her like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's crazy, man.
It's funny because, like, yet again, like when you bring it to the adult insinuations in this film, so he ends up using this camera to catch Marvin Acme and Jessica Rabbit playing patty cake, right? But they're actually just playing patty cake, but you know, from the sounds that are coming out the
way
window,
they shoot it,
even his facial reaction, he's like, "Oh my God. And then it flips right back to Roger Rabbit, and he's like, no, she's playing patty cake with another man.
Yeah, it's crazy because like the way they shot that scene is like you can't see anything. You just see Eddie looking through the window with the camera. And she's like, patty cake. And she's like, ooh, like basically making like sexual noises.
And the dude is getting like more excited. He's like, patty cake, patty cake, patty cake.
And then the next scene, we see Roger Rabbit like, patty cake.
And he's banging his head like
he's mad. He's like, that's our thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's what we do.
And when you look at the pictures, they are literally playing fucking patty cake. Like, and it's so great, man. Like I said, this thing is ahead of its time. It's a PG rating, but I don't know, man. I think if it passed through the board right now, they might have tried to PG-13 it because it's just.
Is it? I thought it was PG-13. I thought it was PG-13.
I think it's PG, bro. I'm pretty sure. Let me look at Roger Rabbit. Excuse me, my bad. Go to the overview. Roger Rabbit. I'm pretty sure it's PG,
I could have
bro.
sworn it was PG-13, bro.
Yeah, PG, 1988.
Damn! Look how censorship
But the
has
thing
changed,
is, like,
man.
even as a kid, like, a lot of the stuff would go over my head, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I think would have got this thing a PG-13 rating now.
Yes.
But back then, it just flew over the
But
head.
see, and that's the thing too, like the way that they throw these innuendos in, but then just bring it back into something else, you know, so quickly, you know, like, I mean, yeah, Roger Rabbit's freaking out at first, but then he's like, you know, we'll be happy together again, you know, you'll see. And then that was also a really cool scene when he jumps out the window.
Yeah, with the
live action window.
Yeah.
But like it was done in animation style, like it's just, you know, you see
there's an imprint
of him.
But then so I think that's still on the set though. So
that was in Maroon's office.
Yeah. So then what ends up happening? I guess Maroon's killed.
No, not yet. No, what ends up happening from that is then Marvin Acme was killed.
That's my bad.
Marvin Acme
my bad. I'm mixing the name. But Acme's killed,
and they're saying that Roger Rabbit was the one who did it
because he's the last guy that was seen with his wife.
With what he said,
and they're thinking, you know, and they know Roger Rabbit saw those photos and was amped up when he last left.
And then that's when we get introduced,
and that becomes that hence our title. Who framed Roger Rabbit?
And that's when we get introduced to probably one of the coolest villains I've seen on screen, and that's where we get Judge Doom, who was played by Christopher Lloyd.
And I want to point out this was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who also did Back to the Future. So it kind of makes sense that Christopher Lloyd, you know,
and it's really cool because like Christopher Lloyd, he just has this screen presence with him, like, and this creepiness element, like the way he's
dressed. What's his role in this film for the people?
He's actually he's like judge, jury, executioner, mayor of Toontown. You know what I'm saying? And then he has his flunkies, which are the weasels, and those are like his little henchmen. And it's funny because they're supposed to be like cops, but they're all dressed like mobsters.
The weasels, the
weasels. Know what I'm saying?
And it's characteristic monsters. You can catch them saying "say" and just Tommy guns.
They act just like mobsters, but they're supposed to be his police.
I love the weasels.
It really it gives us that sense that, you know, even though he's supposed to be the one like enforcing the law, it's crooked in many ways. And so, you know, once we get exposed to his character, you know, they're actually at the Marvin Acme studio where somebody killed Acme or whatever, and Bob Hoskins, he finds it's like a hand buzzer or something, the same one that Acme shook his hand with at the bar. And Christopher Lloyd is, you know, he comes by and he's like, oh, this dude's trying to lift something from the, you know, from the crime scene. And right then and there, that's when we find out that they are actually trying to pin this murder on Roger Rabbit, you know, for this dude and dying and everything.
I mean, it makes sense in the logic that probably would have played out back then. He probably did.
And then when Haskins makes it back to his office, that's when, you know, you get baby, I love your baby. Dick, he was a dick. And it's funny because, you know, he plays the role on screen as like a little baby girl. Like I'm assuming we're thinking he's a girl because he has a little pink bow, and
y'all didn't think about that.
But then when he starts talking, he sounds like a 50-year-old man.
He's not,
50-year-old man. Smokes a lot of cigars.
Don't take no shit. Smoke cigars. He's like, hey man, I work with the guy. He wouldn't do nothing like this.
So he's at Eddie Valiant's office door waiting for him to come. He's like, yo, I figured since you got my buddy into this shit, you can help get him out and I'll pay you. And then that's where, yet again, he reaffirms, I ain't working for no tunes. I'm not taking no money from no tunes. Yeah. But as time progresses, Roger Rabbit's in there already ahead of the baby, like, yo, I need your help. You're the only one who can help me.
Eddie's logic is all flawed because, the Acme guy gave him the money, but he's working pretty much. It's a proxy. It's like we're putting you on this job to help Roger Rabbit. So technically, you are working for it too.
See, and that's the thing.
We want to get to the bottom of what's going on with Roger Rabbit's wife. So we're paying you to do that.
Maroon pays him to get pictures with Jessica Rabbit and Marvin Acme. But then as it progresses too, because the baby tells us it's not really about the sex scandal or what was going on, patty cake between Acme and Jessica Rabbit. It was about this will. Acme had a will that once he moved on in life, once he passed over, he was going to give Toontown back to the Toons. You know what I'm saying? And he actually, like, they had a picture of him on the newspaper that the baby was wielding, and he had the will in his side pocket.
That's what Baby Huey tells him, like, which is weird too, though. Like, it works in a movie like this, but who walks around with their will in their pocket?
Right, especially something of that magnitude. But and so then right from that scene,
once he tells Huey, because Huey's thought is like he's dead and all. We want to know what killed him, but at the same time, we need to get that.
We need to get the will because now Toontown is ours because we got Judge Doom over here. And that was the other thing that I forgot to mention. When we first get exposed to him, that's also when we get exposed to the fact that he found a way to kill Toons.
The dip.
And it's like
I think that's PCP.
It's benzodine, turpentine, and some other green shit.
That's PCP.
But you know what? Not for nothing. I remember when I was a little guy and I saw that. There's this little shoe, and the shoe ain't doing shit. He's just kind of like, oh my God, it almost made my eyeball sweat as a little dude. Like, he picks the little shoe up and all, it can't even talk, it just squeaks when it hops by, and then he dips them. And next thing you know, that's it. And this is right after Jessica kind of walks up on the set and approaches Eddie. He's like, "Oh, thanks for taking them pictures. You pretty much ruined my life." And she smacks him. And then, Judge Doom comes up and does the dip thing, what I'm saying? Yep.
And then, then Eddie goes back to the office and
Roger's there. And then it's really cool because, like, from that's
his favorite shit. He does that so many times in the movie.
But that's when we really get that character development between the two of them, because it's like almost like they start off like he does not want Roger Rabbit around him, but then
it's fire and ice.
They befriend each other in such a way where it's like like it's funny because
the thing is, like, Eddie doesn't like him, but he knows that he didn't kill the guy.
He knows. Yeah,
he knows.
He knows it. And and then that's another cool scene. Like as their interaction progresses, the Weasels show up at his office, and so Roger, like, he handcuffs himself to Roger handcuffs himself to him, like, yo, you're gonna help me. And that was another very cool part where you get like the Toon in real life interaction, because like the Weasels are coming in and they have animated hands, but they're holding real guns, and it looks like they're really holding the guns. Like, it was so
they couldn't do that now, especially after the Alec Baldwin situation. They definitely wouldn't do
it. Was just so tripped out to me. I'm like, man, this fucking the way that they just integrated, the real life in the Toon, like the green screen work, the special effects, the cinematography was just spot on all the way through. And then, as it progresses, then, of course, they were able to pull the wool over the weasel's eyes and stuff. And
yeah, they weren't that bright, but they was about it, but they wasn't that bright.
No, they were not. They were not. And also you couldn't tell no jokes around them because like that was their thing. Like they would just once they start laughing, they keep laughing. They laugh themselves to death. So yeah, man. And then like you get. This just full on just interaction between Roger and Valiant and how they're just kind of moving through trying to
trying to backtrack and figure out who set Roger up.
Get his claim to innocence back. And that's when we really start to see what kind of evil person Judge Doom is, because as it progresses, he takes Roger to Dolores's bars, like, yo, let me just keep him here for a little bit. And when he goes out to do some more investigative work, he comes back and Roger Rabbit's like, fuck this, he's right on the bar, like singing and just keeping everybody laughing, singing, dancing. He's supposed to be behind in the cut.
But he's out here putting on the show.
But his thing is, he's like, yo, I'm not doing nothing wrong. This is what I do. This is what we do as Toons. We entertain.
But you're supposed to be laying low because they're looking for your Roger.
But he can't help it. Like this, he's like, this is what I do. I like to make people laugh.
Even the way Roger, like he's not Bugs Bunny. He like, which I appreciate. He's a rabbit, but his personality could never be confused with Bugs Bunny.
No,
but you could tell that's his thing. He's got to be on all the even when the things are down, he's still performing. It feels like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's got to.
Throw that in. He has to get a laugh out of you. And we find out, many times throughout this film, like he is Maroon Studios' heavy hitter. He is their. He's a man. He is their main. Yeah, their main guy.
Like a Humphrey Bogart back in the day, or something like, or
There's even a part when I can't remember who asked Jessica Rabbit, like, yo, why would you marry him? And she just looks at him straight face and is like, yo, because he makes me laugh.
Yeah, I heard that works.
So I don't know. I mean, when I get the opportunity, I tell a joke or two. That shit ain't work for me, but it worked for Roger. So hey, that's high five to that. But then that's when Doom comes into the bar. It's hilarious because he comes in with this intensity and he's like, yo, we know, and that's also when we know that Doom knows that Valiant is helping Roger Rabbit. He's no longer just this investigator. He's really helping him.
Yeah. And
he does this thing where he's like, what is it? Shave and a haircut. Do 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 do. And he's like just tapping his cane throughout, and like. He's like, no tune can resist. And Eddie Valiant's looking, he's like, man, this is nothing. And then you look at Roger and he's like,
he's trying to because at that point he's in disguise. He's got human clothes on and he's just trying to lay low.
Yeah, and they're in this I don't know, it was looking like some secret room in this bar. And he's going crazy, and then sure enough, he has to bust through the wall and finish the song and shit. And it just the way the film progresses from that point, you find out earlier on that Roger Rabbit cannot take shots. If he drinks some liquor, he spazzes out.
Like in that one scene in the beginning when he gives him a shot to calm down,
turns into a choo-choo train engine. He's like, whoa! So they do that again to escape, and then that's when we get. When they run out the bar, then that's when we get introduced to, I want to say it's Benny the Cab.
Yeah, Benny the Cab, man. And it's crazy.
That is another great original character that's made up for this film. And then we get our car chase scene. I mean, this film, it covered all of its bases, on so many levels. And then, they escape, the weasels and everything. And as it progresses, it's a lot of highs and lows, just cat and mouse kind of stuff. But they end up finding their way back to Maroon Studios, so they can talk to Maroon about how he set Eddie Valiant up to take these pictures about this will. Everything's coming together. But it seems like Eddie Valiant and Roger Rabbit are the only two that know what's going on outside of the person who's pulling the strings from the top anyways. And as he's talking to Maroon, he's like, yeah, Roger, stay out here. If anything happens, beep the horn twice. That's when Jessica Rabbit hits him in the head with the frying pan, puts him in the trunk. She's like, nah, you can't have my hubby out and all this bullshit. He ain't built for that life. So what ends up happening is, Valiant is putting the press on Maroon, and Maroon's about to spill the beans, and then this fucking big ass, like, it almost looks like the pistol that the Joker had in the first Batman, the Jack Nicholson one, where it's got the forever long barrel, and you see that come through the window, pow pow, shoots Maroon. Now he's dead, and they're trying to put that on Valiant because he was obviously
he was
the last one in there.
Yeah. Which is wild back then, like the circumstantial evidence that they was getting away back then. If you ran into the law, I mean, sometimes it's not much different now, but back then, bro,
wrong place, right time was all they needed. That's all they needed. It was
like was on the block. When he got, like, it was a lot of people.
Yeah, we heard you. The barber is dead. We heard you got your haircut that day, so it must be you. Come on, man. Like, how many other people got their fucking haircuts, motherfucker? But so from that point, that's when, like, for me, that's when this film just really levels up, because now Eddie Valiant's on the run and he can't find Roger. So the cab picks him up and takes him into Toontown, where that's also where
where he doesn't want to go.
That's where he does not want to go. But he's chasing after the assailant, because he felt like, he was like, yo, I saw somebody screech off and try to get away, and I know they shot Arcade Maroon. And then that was where
it's a great moment too, though, because when he goes into Toontown, this film for a little period of time, it takes on a whole nother dimension. It's no more streets. It's completely like animated world, and he's the only human thing in it.
And right before we get into Toontown, he fucking one of the coolest characters is his revolver and those 6 bullets.
Why is he? Oh, that's so crazy.
He goes into some trunk or something. He must have had him on deck, and he's like, you know what? Hey guys, and like, it's funny because like as he cracks the things,
but he brings the tunes out.
As he cracks the thing out, like the bullets like were like sleeping. They're like, whoa, it's been a long time since we saw you, man.
It is kind of wild that they're all dressed like Native Americans.
It's either Native Americans or they're cowboys.
Yeah, what is the village people? I gotta look now. Is there a construction worker?
No, there's not.
No,
because it's like that old school thing, like cowboys versus Native Americans kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess.
But all his, all his.
Shout out to Indians and Robbers, man. Check them out.
Yes,
you need
indeed.
some hype gear to wear.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, man. So I love that scene because you get these. Yet again, I mean, the original characters that they gave us.
Those are original. The bullets are characters. They're original.
The bullets, the weasels, the cab, Roger, Jessica. I mean, they gave us the other character, the baby. They gave us the other characters just to let us know, hey man, all tunes are in this, in this together. But the original characters, if they would have really wanted to enhance this film, not make a sequel, but just turn into the same thing of what we got like out of Looney Tunes or something, give us short films with all these characters. They could have done that with ease, because these were such likable characters.
It's interesting you say that, because in my head I'm thinking like this will be right before a sequel. I mean, you gotta cast a new Eddie, but this could work. You just make a series or something. Like, I would watch that.
I would watch it.
Further Adventures.
Yes. I mean, and even if
it wouldn't even have to be Roger Rabbit, you could just put like Eddie in the Tunes or something like that.
Or just keep it in Toontown. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And have these tunes, have other interactions with other tunes.
They still have those characters, Donald, Mickey, whatever. I don't know. Warner Brothers will help them out, but you still got your core.
If you talk with Disney, you talk with Warner Brothers.
Even that, when he first drives in, that looks like Dr. Seuss, bro.
The happy trees and stuff. Yeah, man. Oh, you know what? I was wrong. He didn't drive the cabin. He drove his own car in, and that's why he had the revolver in the trunk. So I guess he was always toting it.
Yeah, Buff the Magic Dragon.
I mean, there's so much. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love the little
Toontown could make
hummingbird.
a grip. All they gotta do is charge people to just drive through, make a loop, a circuit, and dude, I would smoke a blunt and then drive through that joint. You be
oh my gosh, dude! I don't know what I do. I'd have, man.
Just go to Toontown.
Just go to Toontown.
Just drive
get
through,
lit and go to Toontown. But it's funny because just like okay, so in our world, the Toons can still conduct themselves as Toons, have things happen to them, and they're still virtually indestructible. Mm-hmm. But when Eddie goes into Toontown, it's almost like he takes on like the Toon element. Like there's a part where
he's the Toon in their town.
He can also
different.
This craziness, these crazy things can happen. Like when he gets in the elevator with Droopy, the elevator goes all fast and shit, and you see him sink down. He almost looks like flat to the ground. You just see his face. So like the things that we would see in cartoons that happen to Toons are starting to happen to him. Yeah. But it's not affecting his physical.
Yeah, it's not going to kill him. Yeah.
It's not going to kill him.
It's annoying, but
and it's funny. It's funny because as he goes through, like he thinks he finds Jessica, and like she looks like Jessica from a distance, but then it's like she's obviously not Jessica Rabbit. You know what I mean? Like she gets so happy. She's like, oh,
it's the Woody Woodpecker thing.
Yeah,
with the veiled Dixon, and she pulls the thing off.
Yeah, she's like, oh, a man. And she starts running after him, but then he gets to a point where he's out the window, and Tweety he's holding on to the thing, and Tweety like plucks his fingers off. One he starts playing the one pity, two pity thing, and then as he's falling, it was really cool because then we get the two heavy hitters. We get Disney's Mickey Mouse, Warner Brothers Bugs Bunny, and they're both falling with Eddie. He's like, yo, one of y'all, give me a parachute. And he's like, Mickey's like, you ain't get a parachute? And then Bugs is like, I got a spare. And he's like, give me the spare. And he's like, I don't think you want the spare. Mickey's like, fucking give me the spare. And it ends up being like a spare tire and shit. Yeah. But, that, like I said,
it's just a cool blending of, rival studios coming together.
Dude, it's the same film as seeing like Nintendo's Mario kicking it with Sega's Sonic.
I got an idea for the new Space Jam.
You know what I mean?
Instead of like pick up NBA star, but then the teams will be Warner Brothers versus Disney characters for the teams. That would be crazy, dude. That would be crazy.
And then it's just it's so cool. Like, and this is the part of this movie where, like I said, this is Haskins at his best. I mean, the interaction with all the green and all the acting that's going on earlier on, it's great. But this is when he was just flying solo. It was just him and green screen, and nothing else was around. Yeah. And he does it so well. Like, you would never think that he wasn't having these interactions with these characters.
It's interesting because the Weasels have a real gun, but Eddie's his gun is cartoonized. I guess because he's shooting a cartoon bullet.
He's shooting a cartoon. Whereas the Weasels, they got the real gun because a real gun will kill a real person. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. And then it's really cool because then he as he progresses through, he starts to he makes his way back out of Toontown, and then that's when he really kind of like puts everything together. Doom ends up getting Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit, because like Eddie Valiant, they make their way back to the Acme studio pretty much. Jessica Rabbit helps him, she was like, yo, we got to find Roger. He's trying to help you, woo, 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 woo. So now they're on the hunt to find Roger. They make their way back to the Acme studio, which this is probably one of the, outside of, my personal favorite scenes, this is probably one of the most impactful parts of this movie, is when they make it back to the Acme studio and everything unfolds.
Yeah, all the revelations
you happen. We find out, like Doom is this whole shit is because he wants to build a freeway. He wants to. You find out that this company, Cloverfield something or other, Cloverfield Industries or whatever, he's the sole stockholder. So that's why he ends up. We find earlier in the film he bought what was called the red car, which was like the trolley train. He wanted to obliterate that, and then he wants to get his hands on the will that Acme had to take out
basically they
Toontown.
want to build the highway to run straight through Toontown.
He wants to build a freeway through Toontown, which also this is a testament of the time frame that this film was in, because I mean they're talking about a freeway as if they've never seen one before. You know, he's like, yeah, we're gonna have a freeway.
I would say, I don't know what's the exact. Did they ever say the date on this? Because it might be maybe the 30s, 40s, something like that.
It's possible, yeah. Because then he's like, man, like, and he's telling Eddie Valiant, he's like, you know, you lack vision. He was like, because what comes with this freeway is, you know, gas stations and high-priced motels and fast food chains and all this shit.
47. That's when
47.
the movie takes place.
Okay, so yeah, so we were saying, or you know, 50s or so. Yeah, so that's solid. And you know, then as things progress in this studio, you know, or in the warehouse, like that's when, you know, Eddie Valiant, like he has to step outside of himself and kind of get in touch with his inner tune, because Jessica Rabbit and Roger, they're tied up, and he's got this whole fucking like tanker truck full of dip that he just plans on driving through Toontown with like a water hose and just spraying dip on everything. He's just gonna fucking fuck the whole town up, and he's gonna start things off with, you know, taking them out. And so it's pretty much him versus Eddie Valiant. And Eddie has to turn around and like almost start doing like
he uses his wits because he can't overpower him. So he basically uses his wits to kind of distract them, divert them, so he can, you know, get out of the situation. Man.
It's almost like he does a skit. He does a cartoon skit. Like he turns on the Merry Melodies thing and starts like, you know,
he's doing mind control over Debo right now.
You know? Yeah, exactly. Because he remembers, like, because what ends up happening is like Roger tells a joke, or someone tells a joke, and one of the weasels start laughing, and Judge Doom is like, I told y'all about. No, you know what it was? I'm wrong. Judge Doom, there's a bunch of eyeballs on the ground. Judge Doom slips on the eyeballs. And this is where we know something's up with him, because when he falls, he's holding his one eye. And one of the weasels starts laughing at him. And he's like, I told y'all about that laugh. And one day y'all going to laugh yourself to death. And then so that's when Eddie, like you said, he gets into his wit game. And, you know, he starts doing his own skit where, I mean, he's jumping around on the damn pogo stick. He's singing songs. He's juggling. He's just doing all this crazy shit. And slowly but surely, one by one, the weasels keep laughing. And you start seeing them passing on. Like they turn into little, and they get the little angel wings and they start floating up and shit.
Because they're dying from laughing.
Because they're dying from laughing. And then the coolest thing happens. Like we all know it's going to happen, but we get exposed to the fact that Judge Doom is not who he says he is. And it's really cool because, you know, he has a battle. Oh, and the Acme studio is full of all this cool shit.
Yeah,
like
it's all the stuff they were using.
You get like the hammer with the fucking the exploding boxing.
It's what you would imagine. You know, this is shit. This is where Wile E. Coyote orders from.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And it's so funny because, like, you know, once Haskins and Judge Doom they start fighting. Doom pulls out a fucking sword. So he reaches. So Eddie Valiant reaches into a box. He pulls out a sword, and the damn thing is an animated sword, and it's singing a Sinatra song. He looks like fucking Frank Sinatra singing this song. So obviously the sword's not going to help. So he pulls out this big ass magnet, and he's like, you know, fighting off the sword with the big magnet. But then, you know, the magnet ends up sticking him, like getting flipped around, sticking him to a barrel, and then he finds one of those. It's like anywhere holes, like you just like you throw it on the ground and you fall through it. So he's able to pull himself through the magnet, and you know, Valiant and Doom, they're squaring up. You know, they're throwing hands actually, and Doom punches a thing, like a big bottle of glue. So he gets the glue on his hand. He's like, "Fuck!" And at that point, a steamroller is like rolling by, and you know, so Doom somehow with the glue on his hand, he punches. Eddie Valiant moves. His hand gets stuck to the damn steamroller, and he steps in the pile of glue. He's trying to get the damn shit off, you know, get his hand off. So he puts his foot up to try and pull his hand off. Well, his foot had damn glue on it. So the steamroller rolls over Judge Doom. And then this was so cool because like as the steamroller rolls over him, he ends up getting back up, and he's flat as a pancake, dude. And he goes over to the helium tank, and he squeezes it, fills himself back up with air to become normal form. But at that point, his eyeballs pop out, his fucking hat he's got this little bit of hair going on.
Yeah. And his voice gets
really high pitched. And then that's when it was so cool because like he still looked human, but he had animated eyes, animated teeth, and dude, his one hand, like he took his glove off, and it just was like it just kept switching into weapons. Like one time he punches Eddie, it's a big gold anvil, and then it turns into
he goes full tune, like basically the gig is up, man. Basically he's been disguising himself as a human, but he's really a tune.
But he's like some kind of psycho tune that's wearing like somehow he got like human skin, and he's like wears it as like a costume almost, and
it's wild. So cool. It's wild, but
and then we also find out that he's the same tune that killed Eddie's brother,
which caused Eddie's tunism.
Yes, because he was like, there was a part where Judge Doom, he was like, yeah, and he was like, I remember when I dropped the piano on your brother, I talked just like that, and he like his voice goes all high pitched and his eyes get all like swirly, and then they turn into like daggers and shit. But
Eddie's quick on his feet though. He adapts and he's able to defeat the judge. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, he does it in grand fashion, and then it's irony at its best because for the judge to get defeated, he actually had to get dipped himself. You know what I'm saying? So he was a product of his own creation, his own evilness. You know what I mean? Like he was. Out there doing all this shit to these tunes that didn't do nothing wrong, and he's out there really doing some fucked up stuff and everything. But like I said, this is probably one of the coolest. The third phase of this film is probably one of the coolest parts when you get when everything comes to a head, and anyone who's anyone, if you're not rooting for Eddie Valiant, something's wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? Like there are films where I root for the villain. This was not one.
It works on so many levels. I just think the overall creativity of it and the story is so fun. There's so many memorable characters. There's a lot of lines that still stick with you from this film. Like, and it still endures to this day. Like I said, when I didn't finish the whole thing last night, but I got it in the background here. But that first 20, 30 minutes I watched before I knocked out, I was like, dude, this thing still holds up. I think it's even better now, with the knowledge as an adult and having watched so many films and knows what goes into them that, it's even better to me now watching this thing, man. You know how dope it is and how just entertaining and how well made it is, man.
It's a testament to originality, to creativity, and to just taking a shot in the dark and seeing if it works. And it worked well. This film won 4 Academy Awards, bro. 4 Academy Awards. And like I said, it's 1 hour 44 minutes, right? But it plays so fast, like from beginning to end. Like you don't know that almost 2 hours are missing out of your life because it pulls you in right out the gate. And it keeps you there. And then when it's over, it's like, damn, I wish there was more. I want to see what else is going to happen. That's what I'm saying. Like this film really, it set the tone for something.
You watch that dip away too easily, though.
Yeah, I know, right? No drain. There's no gutter. Like you could have washed it right into Toontown and messed up everything.
There's no way that would have worked that fast. Like their feet should be still kind of sizzling a little bit, like as they walking through here, like.
But then it's also funny because after everything all is said and done, like they still get right back into like toonism, and because it's like Jessica Rabbit, like he pulls him down and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, my hero," and he thinks that she's gonna embrace him, and she runs right to Roger. She was like, "You were so brave and so strong," and how do I love you? Let me count the ways, kind of thing. It was just so it's like that's what I'm saying. Like there's so much innuendos throughout, but there's so much humor and so much to just be appreciated. Like I cannot watch this film and not just have multiple laugh sessions and just like feel good smiles throughout the whole thing. It's just there's so many feel good moments, and it's just it's done so well. It's like
I love it. Man.
I honestly I feel saddened for anyone that hasn't seen this film yet. If you have not seen this film, you have to make it a point.
And I think we get that payoff at the very end where the wall to Toontown and all the tunes start coming through. The Disney tunes, the Warner Brothers tunes, and they're all just standing there in the Betty Boop, and there's so many characters just standing together. Who's the bear in the back, yo? Like I know that bear, dude. That's like a gummy bear. You got Foghorn Leghorn. You got the fox from the old what was that? I think it was Mac Fleischer animation films. The dog, the bulldog from Woody Woodpecker. Like it's so many characters, man, all mingling. It just like I think there's a wider shot than that one I just had where it's just it looks like 100 characters, dude.
All of the tunes that we know, like I mean, it's amazing how they were able to pull this off. They had to break bread across the board.
Yeah, like the fact that no one was like, nah, man, we're not getting in with this. Just Chili Willy the Penguin, you know what I'm saying? There's Goofy, like it's so many. Characters in these things, man. Like it's amazing, dude. Like they did a crazy job with this, man. Like,
and then it's like I said,
and they find a will,
It's a testament to the quirkiness of this because the first thing that Acme does, the first thing that Acme does to Eddie Valiant when he sees him at the bar is he squirts him with invisible ink. And then we find out at the end,
like the seven
Roger Rabbit, he found, before, he took a piece of paper out of Acme's office and he wrote his love letter to Jessica Rabbit. That's when he first found out she was playing patty cake behind his back. And he was like, I love you. Let me count the ways. And so he writes it in like some lipstick or something. And then you find out at the end that Acme actually wrote the will on that same exact piece of paper in invisible ink, and then it like reappears and stuff. So I mean, they keep the funny all the way through this joint, and it like they keep that cartoon vibe.
He was into those gimmicks like the
buzzer handshake. It's just like I said, this movie is great from beginning to end. All the way through, and it has such a level of rewatchability. You know what I mean? Like I said, the way I viewed it the first time I saw it as a young child versus the way I view it now as a grown ass man, it's completely different. But the entertainment was still there. Like I didn't walk out of this when I was 7 or 8 years old. Like, oh man, I'm unsatisfied. I loved it. And then as I progressively watched it, as I grew older, I still loved it. I just loved it for different reasons. Like almost now as an adult, I have a higher appreciation for this film, for the technical aspect, for the originality, for all the innuendos, and just everything about it is just, it's an amazing film.
That's crazy. Like, and you see Porky Pig hit the bleep, bleep, bleep. It's all folks, and then Tinkerbell comes out and hits him on the nose. Like that's so amazing, dude.
Yeah,
it still holds up, man. But I don't know, man. I think we've said it all, dude. Like I don't go see this film if you haven't. You know what I'm saying? Even if you have, go watch it again. If you haven't seen it in a long time, because I think it's going to hit you like in the ways you're not expecting, man. It's just wonderful, man. Like that's why we do this show, because like there's some things that just stand the test of time and they hold up, and this is definitely one of them, yo.
Yes,
this is like an amazing film, yo. It's crazy, that this got made, and it got made when it got made,
Yes,
it's wild.
I mean, in '88, they did this in '88. Man, there's films that came out last year
ain't
this good. that aren't this technically advanced. You know what I mean? With all the CGs and all the technological advances that we have in the world, couldn't hold a candle next to this.
Yeah.
So I mean, this one stands the test of time through and through. And I mean, I'm just so glad that we got to talk about it, because like I said, I watched it 3 times this week. I enjoyed it that much. And I was like, man, because I ain't seen it in a while. I mean, it's embedded in my brain. But I was like, man, I enjoyed it so much the first time. I was like, let me watch this joint again. Yeah. Watch it one more time before we do the show.
Yeah, folks. Watch that too. Yeah, definitely check it out, folks, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just amazing. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, 1988, man. And I think that's it, man. Catch us next time, yo, on the next classes of cinematics. I think we've agreed that the next episode is going to be Conan the Barbarian, and that's one of my favorite films, and it's definitely a classic, and we got a lot to talk about with that one. Like,
it's gonna be great.
I sound like Arnold right now. Yeah, it's been Cory, man. Catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter, Instagram. Follow the podcast at FromTheCanopy. Follow the podcast on Twitter. Yeah, at FromTheCanopy. On Instagram is at FromTheCanopy. Yo, email us FromTheCanopyPod@gmail.com.
It's Bobby Blockbuster. You can catch me at Bobby Blockbuster 118 on Instagram, or as always on Movie Massacres, the other show that we do with Evil Corny, and the both of us. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, probably catch me at work. I ain't telling y'all where I work at.
All right, y'all. Peace.